Welcome to the Minority Report Podcast's second annual Halloween special.
Bow, 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 bow.
In full tradition, it's second year tradition, we watched The Witch, another A24 movie.
Who the fuck are you?
What do you mean?
Who are you?
The Witch?
This is you are joined by Antonio Alcazar.
Oh, yeah. My name is Antonio Alcazar. I'm here with
And Ice Tech Noir.
I really like this. Let's talk about it. So, last year, if you guys don't remember, a lot of you might remember, we watched for Halloween, because Jason's an enormous fan of Halloween and horror movies, we watched Hereditary, which is an actual scary movie. Now, we depart a little bit from what we normally do on the show, which is that we talk about old movies.
Or culty movies.
Or culty movies, yeah. Just movies that, like, I haven't seen that, like, wow, I can't believe you haven't seen those. And we watched a new horror flick that I hadn't seen either, but, like, more because it was an actual horror movie. And I remember last year I said I was down to experience that for the first time in a long time because I don't do that to myself. That seems very masochistic. To want to put yourself in a position of being frightened.
Yes.
And so this year, and probably what we'll do forever.
What is that?
to my everlasting fear and anxiety, we'll probably just watch a truly horrifying movie every year. And you know, like, insofar as that exists. And this year we watched The Witch, 2015's The Witch.
Would you like to watch a horror movie?
That scene, to be honest, was like, well, let's talk about this.
2015, Robert Eggers, The Witch. Did you even hear about this movie back in the day?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. This movie came out, it actually seemed like a pretty scary movie. Like, I remember seeing the trailers for it, and I was just like, ooh, that looks
disturbing.
Shit. So there was something about A24's movies where the production company behind these movies tends to hire directors that have a very specific atmospheric expression.
Yeah.
Where they want to make a movie that feels like you're there. They're not showing you a thing. They're trying to make you feel like you're there. Mm-hmm. And Hereditary did this phenomenally. Mm-hmm. I was uncomfortable the moment the first scene started.
Yeah.
They were at a funeral, I remember.
Yep.
And from the moment they were showing the picture, there was a reality in that picture and a weight to the atmosphere that made me feel like I could almost smell this fucking room. You know, like I felt like the eyes were on me from a painting, you know? And so in this movie, it was a very similar feel right off the bat.
Well, right off the bat, we start.
Yeah.
The A24 comes in.
Yeah.
And I should point out, next year,
we're
going to change the podcast name to A24-7 Cast, because all we're going to cover is A24 going forward.
We have been watching a lot of A24 movies.
I mean, it's good shit. We watch good movies. What can I say? So this movie, we hit with the A24. We love that. And then we're hit with some music right away. Some violin music. It's like...
Yeah.
And then a label comes in. I
wouldn't even call it music.
Right.
We get hit with noises.
Yeah. And then we get hit with The Witch.
Yeah.
And boom, you're in. And it's old-timey written witch. Should point out double V, not W.
The Witch.
Because in this time period, that's how it would be written.
W didn't exist yet.
Yeah.
It was just two V's together.
Yep. So we jump right into this.
Yeah.
And a Dagger Maw Cleftjaw. Remember this guy? He was in Game of Thrones. He was the sidekick to Theon Greyjoy when he goes to take Winterfell.
Oh, no.
Okay, yeah.
That's fun.
That's his name. And I don't know if you remember him from the books either, but Dagger Maw. So he's there and he's breaking shit down for the Puritans. The Puritans are like, you're a fuck dude.
Yeah.
We're tired of your shit.
Did they say why? Was he just being really overzealous? Or?
Yes, exactly that.
Yeah.
He's like, because The other people are kind of cheating on their shit a little bit. They're doing a little bit of like...
Yeah. They're just being regular people.
They're being regular people.
Yeah.
And he's like, you fuck, you don't judge me. And isn't that type of shit. Because he is like stronger than strong. And he's like, I live by the book.
Yeah.
I don't fuck with the book.
He is in a society that is built around religious purity.
Yes.
Escaped, in his own words, the oppressive England religious structure, and specifically came over to have religious purity.
Yes.
And he's calling everybody else out for like not like
being
living
pure.
it.
Yes.
And they're just going, hey,
you're about to be censored, dude. You're about to be censored and removed from this community. And he's like,
just like, I
you
fucking
can't censor me.
welcome it.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like, you can't judge me. Yeah. I'm judging you. And they're like, yeah, it's not. Y'all price stuff. But he's like, you can't judge me. I'm fucking way more pure than you are. Yeah. So, yeah.
And they're just like, hey, listen, if you keep fucking pushing it, we're going to kick you out. And he's just like, no, I welcome
I'm
that.
leaving.
I want it.
Yes.
And then they're like, okay, well, then leave. And take your leave, then.
He's banished from the community.
Yeah.
They send his ass out, and he just heads out with the family. The family, they like fucking pack up, and they're like, let's go. Yeah. This is a vibe. Yeah, we're out of this motherfucker, right?
They find a really nice plot.
They get to a plot next to the woods, and man... Right, they show the, like, again, A24, they show the woods, and it's like oppressive woods, and music starts hitting with that oppressive A24 style music, just like, you know, very, like, off-putting right off the bat, right? You know, so.
Supposed to jar you. Now, I want to point out to the viewers, there is a difference in how you watch these movies. You can watch this movie to try to pick it apart as a movie, or you can watch this movie for the experience. Mostly that applies to most movies, and you don't really have to say that because most movies you're trying to get the experience. But with horror movies, you're not always trying to get to experience because some people watch horror movies and they know it's going to be scary and they don't want to be scared. So they watch it in a setting that's not conducive to how the movie can make you feel.
Yes.
They'll have all the lights on, they'll watch it in the daytime, they'll try to be as bullshit about it as possible, to try to pick apart other things, and they're not going to actually feel what the movie's trying to do. I started watching this movie similarly. Not intentionally, but I was just like, I'm just going to watch this movie. So it was the daytime, I was watching in my living room, I got, the TV's kind of far away from me, I've got the volume up, and I'm like really trying, right? But what I noticed pretty immediately, it was like maybe a couple of scenes into them being out in the wilderness, it wasn't hitting me like Hereditary was hitting me in the fear aspect. But when I watched Hereditary, it was at night, I was by myself, I had my headphones on, I was in my room, I was watching it on my laptop real close to me. So like I was getting a different experience. And so it was just like, I can keep watching this movie like this and have an easier time with it, or I can let it do its thing.
Yeah.
And so I stopped it. I went to my room. All the lights were off. It was dark in my room. The curtains on it. I put it on my laptop, put my headset on, and I was just like, round 2, baby. Here we go. So here.
That's how I want to point out, that's how I watched it. I was in my room. It was on my computer. Yeah. Had my headphones on. Lights all off.
Yeah. So starting here, the reason I bring this up here is because this is where I was just like, no, we gotta do something different about the ambiance. And from this point moving forward, I had that full horror movie vibe experience where you really gotta let this movie in its atmosphere and its tone and its sounds and its just general weight do the thing to you if you want to get that back.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you, man. Totally. The first time I saw this movie, actually, I was one of the few people that was able to see it in the theater. I saw this the week it came out. Me and my friend Eric went to go check it out. It was like in the middle of the day. I think we were the only people in the theater too. It was nice. I loved it in the theater. I love seeing it in the theater.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
So we see the chess master. She's breaking down some shit. She's like asking
a very
for forgiveness.
young looking Anya Taylor-Joy, but it turns out she was 18.
She was 18. I was going to bring this up earlier. Yeah. She looks like she's like 13 years old.
She looks like she's 9. Like, well, when it first starts, she's got this like, holy shit, she was a little kid when she was making this. As it goes on, the age kind of starts to become more nebulous, but she never looks more than 13, 14.
Here's the thing, like, time is supposed to have passed, too, in the movie.
Yeah.
Because when...
In the first one, it's just the boy and her, and then almost immediately there's, like, 3 more kids.
Well, no. there's 4 kids when they head out.
Oh, there was?
Yes.
I thought there was 2 kids when they head out.
No, there's 4 kids because all the 3 kids are sitting on the back of the there. You see 3 of the kids sitting on the back of the thing with and the mom's there too. Yeah. So, but either way, we know at least a year or so has passed at this point.
Because the cottage is built. There's a baby now.
Of course, right? Sure. Absolutely. And she's asking for forgiveness, and she says something. I don't know if I understood this correctly because she asks for forgiveness for thy son.
Yes. But I think it's thy son as in the son of the family, not her son. Because I also got hung up on that too. I was just like, who the fuck did she have a baby with?
Right. That's what I thought too. I was just like, okay, weird.
No, they're because the part where I was just like, oh, that's what it must have meant wasn't until near the end where the mom had said Thompson's like entering her womanhood. Yeah. And so we should start to like consider selling her off because that means that this is a recent development. Yeah. You know, like she definitely has.
Importantly, you might not have gotten it, but because I watched this movie this time in subtitles, it's actually explained like within a few minutes from this.
Oh, really?
Because at first I was like, oh, this is her son that gets disappeared or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then in a couple minutes, it's going to be answered and actually even have it in here. So basically, she's going to go play with her brother now. Mm-hmm. Heads out near the woods. She's playing the boo game with her brother. Mm-hmm. And that baby gone.
Yeah.
And there's just like a rustling of the wood. Mm-hmm. And she's like, the fuck?
I didn't know that if this was a hallucination or what, but no, that baby gone.
That baby gone. So, and then we go over to the witch, and she is cooking her some nice stew.
This is really horrific. Yeah. This fucking scene was hard to watch. I cringed.
Yeah.
It was like my stomach was upset.
Yeah.
Because she takes this baby and dismembers him.
Yes.
And then like bathes in its blood.
Yes.
And it's a very hard scene to watch.
Yeah.
So, brace yourself for that impact.
Yeah, I agree completely. And
this movie, like with Hereditary, is hard to watch throughout, but it definitely ramps.
Yeah. Agreed. So we get the son. We'll jump back over to them. The mom's not doing too well. Crying a lot. Shit like that.
Crying a lot.
The son is a little pervy. Checking on his sister?
So, yeah, pervy. But also, this is a little boy who is going through adolescence.
Totally. Good because it's placed in this religious zealot sort of situation.
I think the point is that they're talking about the ideas of purity and the ideas of repression.
Yeah.
And this little boy in a whatever setting is just discovering sexuality and discovering his adolescence. But like in this setting, there are no women. And while it's fucked up for sure that he's like checking out his sister, that like is a thing that would be happening to an adolescent kid, like going through the situation. And he's never like coveting her or anything like that. No. It's just like, he's definitely starting to experience sexual attraction.
Right.
And that really bites his ass later.
Yeah. And important, there's going to be some stuff I'm going to bring up later with this film that's kind of important when it comes to things like that. Okay. Mm-hmm. So Caleb goes and chats with his pops. And like I said, Lisa Aaron is not taking things well. She's crying a lot.
Lisa Aaron, dude, this actress, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, she really plays a scary, sickly woman just insanely well.
Perfectly.
Like, this is her fucking typecast.
Yes, absolutely correct. Caleb chats with Pops, and he brings up how his brother is in heaven, this and that, blah, blah, blah.
Or maybe.
And what? Well, right. So the dad believes that he's gone to heaven or whatever, this and that. And then this is when they bring up that he specifically says your brother and this and that. So he calls him his brother. That's when I was like, oh, okay, that wasn't her kid, then this and that. Okay, so, all right. And they are out hunting. And they see a hare. Yeah. Try to shoot the hare.
And explodes.
Backfires in his face. Yeah. Right. So doesn't go well. So the chess master is really feeling bad for everything that's happening. Anna Taylor is just crushed by what, because she's putting it on herself that the child was gone. Even though it's clearly like something fucked up is happening.
Yeah. So they keep referring to the boy being taken by the wolf.
Yes.
But,
But Anna Taylor is like, I didn't see any wolf.
Yeah, she knows that there wasn't a wolf.
Right. So.
And 2 little kids are dancing around?
Yeah.
They're dancing around and they're singing songs about
Black Phillip. Yeah. Importantly,
Black Phillip was such a nothing thing that became such a fucking hideous thing.
Caleb when talking to his dad at this scene, this dad reveals he got these traps because he traded in the silver cup for the traps, and he stole it from the mom. Okay, no big deal, is what it is.
Yeah.
The freaky kids are playing with Black Phillip, as you point out, and they're Black Phillip, Jonas and Mercy, and they, as the dad gets back. Because they're riling up Black Phillip, the dad has to like wrestle the fucking Black Phillip into the pen, get his ass locked up and whatnot. And then as he's wrestling them in, he slips and falls on a pile of shit. And then the kids are like laughing at the dad and shit. I'm like, these fucking asshole kids, man. These kids are.
I was really
shit.
surprised too. Because, like, this is, like, Puritan life, you know? And everybody's real, like, yes, sir, no, sir kind of situation. Like, the boy and Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yep.
But these two shit-eating kids are just allowed to be shit-eaters. Like, I was like, what the fuck, dude?
I know, it's very
Rein
weird.
them fucking kids in, dude.
The kid, Caleb, at this point lies for the dad.
Yes.
And because the mom, Lisa Aaron, is upset. She's like, "Where were you?"
Yeah, like, why would you guys go into the fucking woods? Like, what's the matter with you?
And Caleb just lies. Basically, that we saw an apple tree, so I wanted to take Dad to the apple tree. This and that.
But see, a lot of this is like already it starts seeping, and this movie does a good job of like setting up why things happen.
Of course,
like the kid kind of like grappling and discovering his sexuality. Payoff, right?
Yep.
There's a payoff for that. All of the lies, all of the little things, of people being people. Like the kid didn't want his mom to be unhappy, so he tells a little white lie. You know, the dad needs to eat. Tells a little white lie. You know, like there's these little moments that turn into something monstrous in the end.
Of course.
Which I loved.
Yeah.
I just loved that this little scene was in there where it was just like, this is another thing where everybody's going to be fucking killing each other over it.
It's true. And the daughter, Thomason, she has to go take the clothes and go wash them at the crook. Yep. And her and her brother, Caleb, are just like talking back and forth and having a good time and whatnot. And then Mercy shows up and she starts talking shit. And then
she's talking about how she's the witch of the woods.
Yes, she's the witch of the woods and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And she took and then...
And Thomason's a little, like, irritated with her at this point. And she's not, like, listening and shit. So then she does what kids do and tries to scare her sister.
Teases the shit out of her.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm actually the witch.
Fucking witch and shit. Yeah.
And, of course, Mercy is, like, goes crazy about it and runs the fuck off. So, dinner time. They're having a good, nice dinner, kind of. And they start bringing up the cup.
Yeah.
And
the mom's just like, hey, my cup's missing. Did you take my cup?
Thomason, where's my cup? You know, because she goes right after Thomason again. And Thomason's like, I have no idea where that cup is.
And the dad is just like, hey, she said
she doesn't know where the cup is, right? And then she makes some comment about like, oh, I'm guessing a wolf showed up for that too or whatever, right? You know, so a little bit of a, tension building part. Kind of similar to like, the dinner scene in Hereditary. Just not to that full extent, obviously, right? Just... kind of getting closer and closer to breaking down. So the sheep are going crazy. So they send Anna to go take care of the sheep. No big deal there. She as she's putting the sheep away, that fucking rabbit's back and it's just chilling. Father's really trying to make peace with the wife at this point. And he's just like, look, times are bad. I get it. We're going to make it through together. The God is with us, blah, blah, blah. But the wife is just really like, I didn't really even want to leave England. I mean, that's really what her thing is. Like, I didn't want to. Well, at first, she's like, I didn't want to leave that plantation we were on, and she's upset that they are out here in the middle of nowhere, and everything's kind of gone wrong for them since then. And they're talking about the kids and everything else, and what's going on with the kids, and it's not the greatest of conversations. And the next day, Caleb is actually going to go out, and he's going to take the horse.
So they're talking that night about like, if we don't sell pelts and shit, if we don't do something, we're not going to make it past the fucking winter.
Right.
And the mom's just like, look, Thomason's like ready to be sold off.
Sell her off, yeah.
So like maybe you can go and do that and we'd have enough to survive and all that. And the dad is like, yeah, maybe that's the case. And the brother doesn't want to see his sister go.
Right.
So he's just like,
I'm going to go hunting.
Let's go into the woods. I'll take the gun. I'm gonna get some pelts.
Well, he's gonna go by himself.
Yeah. I'm gonna go into the woods. I'm gonna get some animals, and then we're gonna come back, and you're not gonna have to go.
Right. They go off together, and then the dog sees the devil rabbit,
that fucking devil rabbit,
and chases after the devil rabbit.
Yeah.
Caleb's like, "Get back here, dog!" and chases after the dog, and Thomason gets knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, falls off the horse.
We go over to Caleb. He's like searching through the woods and whatnot. Hears a screech.
Finds the dog.
The dog is dead as fuck.
The dog is like ripped open.
That is ripped open. And then he sees something over to the side, and it's a house.
Yeah.
And a hot lady comes out that house.
Yep.
And he is like,
he's a little bewitched. He's bewitched. So this is where they
bewitched.
This is where they kind of like they're playing off of the fact that this witch and the devil or whatever it is going to give you what you think you want.
Yeah.
And so they've already established that this kid is kind of like experiencing sexuality a little bit. And so like this super hot fucking lady comes out of the fucking cabin and like, her, breasts are
big old
out,
titties.
and the kid is just kind of like, instead of running the fuck away because there's a witch in front of you, right? He's kind of entranced by it.
Yep.
And then she grabs him and kisses him, and then it's actually a witch.
It's witchy. Yep. So we go back over to the main farm, and they're all looking for the kids, screaming for the kids. Thomason shows up, and they start talking about things, and the dad's like, I'm going to go to the village. I'm going to fucking get some help, and then we're going to figure out what the fuck's going on out here. We'll do everything the right way. And the mom's going crazy, and this is the point where the dad admits that he's the one who took the cup because the mom is so pissed off with Thomason. And he says, I took it, I traded it, this and that. Okay. So everybody kind of calms down. They go back into the house. They're going to eat. They're going to do their thing. Everybody's now kind of to the point of calmness, and everybody's kind of chilling. And once the mom finds out about what happened to the cup, she's like, okay, I'm not as mad with Thomason at this point in time. Thomason hears the sheeps, and she's going to go out and take them. And the mom's like,
let me go do this.
Don't worry about it tonight. You don't have to worry about it. We'll do it in the morning. They're not going to leave when it's raining like this. And she's like, no, I'm going to go do it. So I want you to be happy with me. Mm-hmm. She gets up, goes outside, and she's doing the thing with the sheep. And then she hears something, and Caleb has returned, but he is completely naked, and he is fucked up.
It's a little worse for wears.
Yes. Take him inside, and then they got to perform old school medicine on him, so which was cutting
out
things.
His head a little bit.
Yes, exactly. That's what you did in the old school times.
Yep.
You cut people, let the bad blood.
You got to give him cocaine to get the ghosts out of his blood.
Exactly. So we jump over to Mercy. Mercy is chatting it up with Black Phillip. Mm-hmm. She's like, "What's wrong with Caleb? Tell me what's wrong, Black Phillip. I want to know what it isn't that blah blah blah." Thomason goes to take care of the goats. Starts pulling the goat's titties, and there was fucking blood shooting out that goat.
Yeah.
And Black Phillip's just like, doing his Black Phillip thing, right? And then Mom's, at this point in time, she just breaks down. She talks to the dad, and she's like, I fucking hate it here in America. We should have never left. America sucks. It's funny because that is the words I would say now. Wish we really left England, but seriously, they're in this fucking frontier land of America. Just terrible, man. Things are bad. Everybody's kind of chilling. Caleb, at this point in time, wakes up finally from his ailment, and he's
no.
Yep. Hold on. He wakes up from his ailment, and he's kind of just chilling for a moment, and then he starts to like cough a little bit. And then he can't breathe. And they're like, wait a second, there's something in his mouth. And there's something blocking his mouth. And they pop it out, and a fucking rotten apple comes shooting out of his mouth. So
then they think that he's been bewitched or whatever.
They know, yes. At this point, they're like, he's been bewitched by something.
And then the kids blame Thomason for being a witch.
Yep.
They're like, she's a witch. She told me she was a witch. She told me by the fucking creek that she was a witch. Yep. And she's like, no, they're like that was a joke. They are fucking around right now.
Yep.
And there's like, no, there's a witch. And then the mom, who's at a fucking breaking point, is just like, do not come near this fucking human being, you know? And then the kid like wakes up. Caleb wakes up.
Wait. Before that, the dad is like, I'm having enough of this. We're going to talk right now. And he's like, are you a woman of God? And this and that. And he like takes her confession right there that she's not a witch. Like, she swears that she's not a witch. The kids are lying, this and that, blah, blah, blah. So,
they're like, okay, well then let's all pray together.
Yes.
Yeah. And then they start to pray, and then the kids can't remember the prayer.
Yes. The Our Father prayer.
Yeah. And then they're just like trying to muscle through it. And when they are, Caleb wakes up.
Yep.
And he starts like, just fucking jabbering and some shit.
Yeah. So, oh my God, my Lord, he's there. And then when he starts to wake up,
so
and
fucking rough.
He's fucking praising the Lord and everything, the two other kids start freaking out and they start seizing all over the ground and shit like that. And he's just like, I see you, Lord. You are my savior.
Oh my God.
This
Scene was so fucking rough, dude.
Yeah.
Because like the kid, like his performance was 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
His fucking performance was a goddamn home run.
Yes.
Because he was like really, like it really looked like he was feeling it. Like it was like he was full of this elation where he was just like my God, I fucking like I love you and like I feel you and I'm coming to you and like everyone's just like praying hard as shit and then he just like falls over
dead. Yep,
dead.
He was raised by the power of the Lord and then extinguished in
then
body.
You're done.
So and things are not looking well for Anna Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, for sure. Thomason like immediately gets blamed for killing him or whatever.
And the dad drags her ass outside and is like,
like at first he sits with her and he's just like it's kind of like
she runs outside. That's right.
She runs outside, and then the dad goes outside and then he sits with her and
holds her, hugs her, and all that.
And like you really do feel like, man, he loves his daughter.
Yeah.
You know, like this is such a fucking difficult thing. And then he's just like, listen, you got to tell me what's up because tomorrow we're gonna take you to the fucking town, and you are gonna get your ass judged, you know, and so you just got to come clean, man. Like what is happening here? And then she's like, "Yo, I'm not a witch."
She's like, "Hey, not only am I not a witch."
At first, it's just I'm not a witch,
right?
And then he's just like, are you a fucking witch though? And she's like, I'm fucking not. I'm not a witch. Like, and he's just like, yeah, but like it's so easy to say that.
Right. And this is all like everything's going bad. You're the one who found Caleb when you were with Caleb when he went away.
She's just like, oh, you think this is all weird shit on me? Yeah. What about, like you going out and lying about going out and you stealing the fucking cup and you taking Jacob and not telling everybody? Like you're full of fucking hypocrites too. Like you're lying about everything too.
Yeah.
Like who are we supposed to believe? Just because there's been some coincidences on my end, it doesn't mean that there haven't been on any. And then he gets very fucking angry about that because he doesn't like hearing his shit called out on her.
Yeah.
And then so that
because he was a super Puritan before.
Yeah. And so it kind of seems like in defense and in self-preservation, she's just like, listen, Mercy was saying she was a little fucking witch.
Now she brings up more than that.
Yeah.
She goes, don't you remember the scriptures?
Yeah.
The scriptures talk about the creature whispering to this and that. And she's like, Mercy and Jonas told me how Black Phillip was whispering to them and offering them things and stuff like that. And it's got to be them that they're the witch because how else, could all this happen? Yeah. And it's got to be somebody that's a witch.
And Mercy was literally walking around saying, I'm the witch of the fucking witch.
Yes, absolutely.
So then he goes upstairs.
And, they're downstairs at this point because Caleb is dead and he's on the thing, and the two kids are knocked out and they're on the thing. They're in the on that little laying platform, and he's like, "Listen, yo, wake up, yo." And the mom is actually kind of calmed down at this point.
She's like, "Okay, what is going on?
Right, what's actually going on here?" And the dad's like, Thomason, pointed out that they did this and they did that, and he's like, "Wake up, you children!" And he like grabs one of them even, and they're like, "No, like it's nothing or whatever." Yeah. And then I forget what actually happens, and they like wake up, and they're just like, "No," or whatever, and then they were faking or whatever this fucking shit, and the dad's like, "Yo, I've had enough of this shit.
We're gonna go to the fucking village, but tonight you guys are all spending the night in the fucking shed or whatever," and just nails them into the shed.
Yeah,
along with Black Phillip.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the dad is like completely breaking down at this point.
Yeah.
And he's chopping wood and he's like, look at God, I know we've done some terrible shit.
Like on his knees in repentance.
Yeah. And he's like, take me, I don't care. Bewitch me, kill me, whatever. Just save my children. I don't want anything to happen to them.
Yeah.
And I'll be fine with whatever.
Yeah.
Lysa Arryn sees the two dead children.
Yeah, she goes. So then everybody's asleep or whatever, or she's asleep. And she sees the two dead children sitting on the thing, and then he's just like, "Hey, would you like me to visit you more often? Because I'd love to visit you more often.
I'd like to see you regularly."
Yeah, and she's just like, "Yeah, I'd love that." And she's just like, "Oh, I think Sam's hungry."
Yep.
And starts like breastfeeding him.
Yep.
And then Caleb is just like, "You've got to pick up this book."
Yeah.
And then like you see what's actually happening. There's like a fucking crow.
Yeah.
Like
eating at her
pecking at her fucking tit. Oh, yeah. So fucking rough.
Yeah. And then while this is happening, we jump over into the
shed with the kids.
The shed, right. And they kind of hear something and they're like, what the fuck is that? And they look over to the corner and then that fucking old ass witch is there.
Because they hear something on the roof and then it falls through. And then there's like something suckling at the fucking sheep in the corner.
Yeah.
And then it's the fucking witch. And she
Yeah.
looks like a fucking grimy ass, scary ass witch.
Really rough.
And then but probably busts through the fucking door or something, because in the morning, the dad wakes up.
Dad wakes up, gets up, looks around, and he's like, looks over to the shed. And for a couple moments, you just see his face, but he's like staring like over this way.
Yeah.
And then kind of walks over the shed, and then we see what he's looking at. There's 2 dead sheep that are like ripped apart too.
The kids are gone.
The kids are gone. The doors are smashed open.
Yeah.
And she's just laying there.
Thomason's just laying
Yeah,
there
and it's
with
like-
bloody hands.
Right. What the fuck?
Yeah. And
But
then out of nowhere,
boosh!
boom, Black Phillip just impales the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And then he's just like really trying to, grab it on.
Grab that axe to
goes
kill
pick
Black
up
Phillip.
the axe, and then boom, another fucking.
Well, what happens is it's really weird because he picks up the axe like he's gonna attack Black Phillip, and then he just like kind of stands there for a second,
and
just
he
drops the
it.
axe,
Yeah.
and then he just gets killed by by Black Phillip. Right? Yeah, it's
gets pummeled into the fucking firewood. The firewood all falls on top of him.
yeah,
And then Thomason gets up.
yeah. Starts
And
looking around.
she's gonna go over to the dad, but then the mom runs out.
Yeah, snaps.
Yeah,
and
snaps.
she's just like, "You're a witch. You've always been a witch, and you don't think I saw, your she blames her for her brothers staring at her and shit like that, and she blames her for pretty much everything,
Yeah.
and she tries to start beating on her and shit like
She's
that.
Like, well, I'm not gonna defend myself,
Right, and
so-
she cuts her, and then while she's trying to choke her to death, she just cuts her throat basically and kills her there. And man, what a fucking rough. What a
I mean,
rough,
at that point, her mom's trying to kill her.
right.
And so she just like, well, I'm not going to die.
Right.
And,
Goes and chills at the fucking
very
kitchen
self-preservation.
table. Of course, dude. Of course. Who wouldn't? Right.
Yeah, it just seems like there wasn't any malice there. It was just fear and not wanting to die.
Of course. She chills and just is like, I'm going to take a nap.
Yeah.
Wakes up and heads out to the shed.
Trauma, right?
Of course.
Shock. She walks in, goes to sleep, wakes up, walks outside, and
Black Phillip's chilling.
Black Phillip's just... Oh, she walks into the shed.
Right. Well, Black Phillip is standing out there.
Yeah.
Walks in the shed. Black Phillip comes walking in with her. Yeah. And then she's just like, dude, give up the ghost. Yeah. Like, stop it. Everyone else is dead.
Can you just... What's up?
Yeah.
Are you there?
And then, of course, he transforms into a dude.
Yeah.
And talks to her and offers her some shit. And he's like, I just need you to sign the book. She's like, I can't sign the book because I don't know how to write. And he's like, well, I'll take care of it for you. Yeah. And then she gets naked, heads out to the other witches, and then fucking flies with the witches, and she is free.
So
and
she's freaking out. She's like laughing
from some Stanley Kubrick music.
So like that scene where when she's like looking at Black Phillip, and it's just like, hey, I command you to talk. Like what do you want from me? Yeah. And it doesn't say anything, and she's just like, okay, I'm gonna go. And then it goes, what do you want? Like that was heavy.
Yeah.
Like that scene to me, I was like, I could barely breathe.
You're a pretty, are you a bit of a, well, I don't know how I want to phrase this. You're a superstitious person in some ways with this type of shit. So am I.
I'm not necessarily a superstitious person.
No.
The framework of my reality allows for non-physical consciousness.
We talked about this shit 2 weeks ago when we discussed Evil Dead.
Uh-huh.
And talking about the Necronomicon being some white people shit.
Yeah.
It's kind of how I feel all the time. Like, you know me. I am a fucking kind of consumer. Uh-huh. I am like fucking, they live, I consume, bro. I buy.
Yeah.
I buy shirts.
Sure.
I buy coats. I buy all that shit.
Yeah.
Yesterday when I was watching this movie, I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy a Black Phillip shirt. I started to put it in my cart. I was like, I'm not buying it.
I'm actually not going to do that. Yeah, dude, that's a bridge too far.
I'm not buying a Black Phillip shirt. I can wear a fucking Michael Myers shirt. I can wear a Nightmare on Elm Street shirt. I'm I can't fight with Black Phillip. Sorry, buddy.
I can't. Yeah,
it's a little too,
I'm not bringing in a Black Phillip plushie to my house.
Absolutely. I'm like, I can't fuck with no Black Phillip.
No, dude.
That's a little too.
There's like Baphomet plushies that you can buy and shit, and I'm just like, don't fuck with that.
I'm not.
Because maybe it's nothing, but also maybe that's the devil.
It's bad juju, man. Yeah. So, some behind the scenes of The Witch, bro.
Yeah.
First of all, let's start off with the budget on this movie.
Okay.
$4 million.
$4 million? That seems cheap.
Yeah. They filmed in Canada, very few people, very little set design, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Pretty nice. So,
super. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you don't have to pay for locations and shit like that. You're literally just in the woods.
Box office for this, $40 million.
So
10 times what it came out at.
For sure. Yeah.
Rotten Tomato score on this fucking thing, 90%.
90.
Metacritic, 83%.
Yeah.
This movie was made it took 25 days to do this film.
Wow, quick. Not even 1 month, huh?
The animals here, because there's obviously quite a few animals. The hair that they had, that thing was awesome to deal with. Like they were like, they trained it and they were like, all right, you're gonna hop here, and then it did like every single thing they wanted them to do.
Really?
The horse and the raven that are in it, also pretty easy. Not as easy as the hare, but they were able to kind of like you go this way, and then you freak out horse, and then you jump, and then you run, and everything else. Black Phillip, atrocious to work with.
Really?
Terrible to work with. Absolutely bad attitude. Could barely get it to do what they wanted it to do.
Yeah.
One of the scenes where the dad is like trying to move it and it bucks against him absolutely happened. It wasn't in the thing or anything like that. Yeah. So just another. That's why I didn't buy a Black Phillip shirt yesterday. I'm just like fucking Black Phillip, man. Yeah. He wanted to do. They even bring up that they had more plans for Black Phillip and more scenes, and he was just a piece of shit that would not do what they wanted him to do.
Sure.
Yeah, and then Robert Eggers. Obviously, this is his first film. Robert Eggers. He's got. We watched The Lighthouse together. Mm-hmm. Another film coming out next year called The Northman.
Okay.
Check this out, bro.
I've seen the reviews for the North.
You've heard about
trailers and stuff.
Yeah, it's Vikings.
Yeah.
And
I can't wait to watch that.
Alex Skarsgård is the main character. Yeah, absolutely. Alex Skarsgård is the main character, which made me kind of laugh because he's going to be the Northman, and his name in True Blood was Eric Northman, which is just funny. I don't know, but it's cute. So, what would you say your recommendation would be for The Witch?
I like with Hereditary, loved this movie. I loved Hereditary and I loved The Witch. I'd say that this movie was a little less scary than Hereditary was.
Sure.
I watched Hereditary and I was deeply, deeply frightened. Which was frightening. It was hard to watch. But it wasn't like Hereditary. With Hereditary, I could barely fucking watch it. Like there was some scenes where I was just like, this might be the most terrifying moment of my life.
Sure.
Where in The Witch, maybe I was just a little desensitized by Hereditary. Maybe I was just in better spirits this time. But this movie wasn't so terrifying. But it was still pretty fucking terrifying and really uncomfortable to watch. And a lot of scenes were fucking tough. Like the scene at the end where the devil literally talks to her. It was so fucking uncomfortable. And, oh my God, and the scene where Caleb dies is just so rough. So there were a lot of scenes that were just hard to watch. This movie is just generally hard to watch. It's not a comfortable thing. This is not how I have fun. But there's no way to say that it's not an excellently made movie. The production's insane. The performances are insane. The weight and atmosphere are so fucking on point that, yeah, man, this movie is just like a well fucking made movie. It's a movie that I genuinely recommend people watch, especially if you can tolerate scary movies. But it's also on par with Hereditary. It's a fucking scary movie. If you're not comfortable with scary movies, if you can't handle, like that atmosphere, that vibe, do not watch this fucking movie. It'll sit with you, like you'll carry this shit, and it's ugly. It's ugly to watch and it's ugly to carry. But I did like it. Period pieces have been a surprise recently for me. I've noticed that like if you really do a period piece really, really well, and you get that that feeling of being there down. You can really do a really fucking scary movie, and so, or just like a really entertaining kind of like, this is must have been what it's actually like kind of feel.
Sure.
And I really dig that. I love feeling like they are letting me see a little bit of what it must have been like back then. I mean, sans all the paranormal shit.
Yeah.
Although who knows? Who knows?
Exactly.
Back then. Yeah. But yeah, I full recommendations, 10 out of 10. I fucking love this movie. This was really great. Scary as shit. But it's another good Halloween entry, so I'm pretty happy about it. What do you think, Ben?
Excellent. So this movie, I saw this in the theater, loved it in the theater. Saw it again a couple of years ago, loved it again. Saw it last night, went, this was, I thought, maybe my second favorite horror movie behind The Shining. I'm pretty sure this is my favorite horror movie.
Wow, yeah.
Absolutely adore this movie. And here's the thing. You bring up that it was a little less scary than Hereditary, and that makes sense because this movie is made specifically for in a certain way. What Robert Eggers actually set out to do was because he's from the area that this kind of takes place in, okay? Yeah. He wanted to do a movie that was like a folklore horror movie that would be like Hereditary is scary to us in this would be like the most horrific, horrifying story to like a Puritan or a person that was deep in the
Hereditary is
faith
scary because it's a now thing that's happening.
Exactly. It's like it's not even it's corruption. It's like that's what this movie is all about. Like you point out, the little corruptions, the little lies, the little this, the little that, and how like if you are a deeply faithful person, this is fucking terrifying. Like these little like corruption, these little things that lead to ultimately the entire family being dead, and even worse, chess master now soul belonging to the devil, right?
For sure.
So
because she like willingly in the end is just like, oh yeah, I'm down for this shit.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like everyone else is probably just dead and heaven, whatever the fuck, because they did their best and whatnot, and God is their savior. Yeah. But this one is now even worse, you know. Yeah. So it's definitely this is high marks on this film. I love this movie. It's probably in my top like 20-ish movies in general, even outside of horror, because it transcends that for me. The acting is so good.
I really hate that it transcends that, man. Yeah. Because like you almost want to just be like, no, this is bad, don't watch it. Yeah. But there's no way to not recommend this movie. Yeah, man. It's so well done.
It's excellent. Robert Eggers can't miss for me. Like I love both of his movies that came out. Yeah. And it's like he's so good at this, right? Like cuz this was like a period piece here that was a horror movie towards Puritans. Then you had The Lighthouse, which was like this perfect movie towards like that like this like crazy, psychotic sort of like inner thing going on. Yeah. And I can't wait for the next movie. It'll be interesting to see if that movie has like some I'm sure it's going to have some type of supernatural element to it. Yeah. Anna Taylor-Joy is in that film coming up too. Yeah, so of course. So, it's going to be really interesting to see where that film goes because whatever he makes now, I mean, it's like even with the little miss by Midsommar, I'm still going to see anything Ari makes. Sure. Same thing Robert Eggers, but Robert Eggers is even higher up for me because I love both of his films, as opposed to Hereditary, which I love, and I did not like Midsommar. Yeah. So
you didn't like it? You didn't like Midsommar at all? I thought it was just kind of like a little bit of a miss.
I thought it was fine.
Sure.
Yeah. Like
I refuse to watch Midsommar because like there's not any reason to. Yeah. But like at some point maybe for this fucking podcast, maybe 5 years on the line.
Well, we'll catch it at some time when we're doing our A24/7 cast, and it's only A24 that we.
Yeah, maybe next year we'll do something for Halloween. And like every week for Halloween we'll do a movie or some shit like that.
We're going wild with Halloween, baby. When now the scene where the witch is killing that baby, man, he's cutting up that fucking baby. I'll tell you, man, that cutting that shit, that was rough.
Yes,
bro. Yeah. And here's what I would suggest next week: get yourself a cutting utensil, maybe a nice large sword, and join us live as we cover Highlander.
Oh, that's cool. I've always wanted to watch Highlander. Don't join us live and don't grab any blades. But, Highlander seems fun.
Wouldst thou like the taste of butter? A pretty dress? Wouldst thou like to live deliciously?